Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter Podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
Welcome, my man. Welcome to the podcast again.
Thank you. It's good to be back on. It's been quite a while. How long even has it been since?
Shit. Has it been a year?
I think it must be close to like a year. It definitely must be.
Our anniversary now, I guess.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
So, man, for those that might not know who you are, give a brief little introduction of who you are and what you're all about.
Okay, so it's going to be a little bit different to last time's introduction.
Yeah.
A lot happened. So, I am Chris McCreadie, or Keffy West. That a lot of you may know me from Instagram. Obviously, that is my stage name and everything like that, and I've just kept it through Instagram. But I am a natural bodybuilder, 22 years old. I used to do professional wrestling, so I believe the last time I might have been on this, I'd done a lot more professional wrestling. It is now kind of took a back seat because the bodybuilding has took over a lot more, and it is pretty much just kind of took over my life more than anything else. So again,
sure.
all my dedicated to that rather than kind of being split in between. So yeah, I am now a DFAC professional. Last week I did actually achieve my pro card. I was then able to make my pro debut within about half an hour of winning my card, and I was also able to take my first pro win, which was still quite a shock, but yeah, that's really it. So I'm a 22-year-old natural bodybuilder.
Jeez, man. So first thing, I popped for the Batista posing routine. I like that.
Yeah, that had to be done.
Yeah. So for those that maybe know from our previous podcast, we both shared the love for wrestling. That's one of our common shares. So I knew the Batista reference with the posing routine. So I like that. Second off, congrats, man. I was able to actually watch it live through the live stream. So I was buzzing for you. So that's fantastic, buddy.
Good. Thank you.
So I guess let's go through this year. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you have a show canceled, or was this postponed?
So the show was meant to go ahead in September.
Yeah.
So it was the back end of September, I think. And then what happened was it was rescheduled when I was I believe 12 weeks out.
Right.
So postponed when I was 12 weeks out, which then pushed me to be 15 weeks out. And then it pretty much got quite close to the show, and then there was no specific given date. It then got postponed again pretty much another, I think it was 3 weeks. So it was meant to go ahead on the 5th. The final date was meant to be, the 7th of November.
Right.
Was meant, when it was meant to go ahead. So that was made official. That was the main date. So we were all kind of ready for that and things like that. And don't get me wrong, we were on track for obviously everything else, but at the same time, it was go time for the November show. So
yep.
It then to the week leading up to the show, and obviously I'd done my 3 days deplete, and then I was moving on to my first day of water loading and carb loading and things.
Yep.
And pretty much it got up until lunchtime, and I had I think I got literally all of my grapes and bananas and things like that out of the way, and I was moving up my white potato, and I got 8 litres of water in, and I was 7.5, 8 litres of water in, and then I got a phone call pretty much to say that the show had been cancelled.
Jesus.
So that was 2 days out. The venue literally got back. Obviously, the venue got back and said that they were able to offer the 5th of December, which would then put another 4 weeks on diet. Once we were pretty much there, do you know what I mean? We were 2 days out, ready to roll. Then it was right, shit, I've just been handed another 4 weeks diet. And again, it took quite a few days to take, to process and that. No doubt in my mind I had that I was I was going for the 5th of December. Do you know what I mean? Like 4 weeks wasn't gonna.
No.
It wasn't gonna stop me from doing anything. But at the same time, it was because we were so close. You could literally see the state.
Yeah.
And like right, boom, another month is added on to prep.
That's right.
With the kind of like, we also had to go in with an open mind that it might still not go ahead within these 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So what was the reasoning for it getting postponed? Like, was it another lockdown? Was it a restriction on numbers? What was the whole kind of shit show?
England went back into lockdown for another month.
Yep.
So that was really the case of there was a chance that it was, once they got announced that they were going into lockdown, there was still a chance that the show was going ahead. But then 2 days before the show, the venue kind of got in contact and was like, right, they were pretty much closed, you know. So that was literally 4 weeks that I had to wait that England went into lockdown. Scotland, you know what I mean? Scotland was okay, but obviously because it was happening in London, England went back into lockdown, and then they came out of lockdown off the show just there. So,
jeez. So then after, when they came out of lockdown, was it all go ahead, no issues after that?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it was still kind of touch and go, up until obviously the week of the show and things. But then obviously once there was confirmation that the show was going ahead, then it was perfect. Everything was kind of ready to go. But obviously that week as well, I was still going back into another deplete, and I got another full carb load, water load, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I could have done that again, and it could have been cancelled. But
that's right. What a roller coaster. So how long was your prep total? When did you start prep this year?
I started dieting, I believe around April time.
Jesus.
So yeah, just beforehand, started eating up foods and things like that, and then obviously it was onto my main kind of like staples, and then obviously it was deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into obviously, you know how it phase. So yeah, it was quite a long year.
Yeah, no doubt. So the show's done now. You're what, a week post show now? 2 weeks.
Week post show.
1 week. So how do you feel now? Do you feel still pretty fatigued from the diet, or you kind of just, I'm back to feeling a lot better?
Nah, this week's training has put quite a toll on my body. Like, the DOMs have been horrendous. My body, like, aching like hell, and it's just, obviously like that, down to a lot of dehydration and things. And like after the deplete last week, my training stopped. So obviously my first session was the day after the show. Yeah. At the same time, how it is the day after the show, it's like you're buzzing to get into the gym, but you know that you're probably only going to be able to bench like 60 kilo.
Yeah.
Probably only going to be able to curl like the fives or something. But it was good. It's good to get back into training, definitely. I am feeling like obviously a lot more energized than that, and not freezing cold anymore. I would literally like rocking up in like a t-shirt, a jumper, and like 3 hoodies.
No doubt.
So now I've kind of downgraded to like just a t-shirt and a jumper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it'll take maybe 2 or 3 weeks to kind of start a bit better and a bit more kind of normal and healthier and that. But
for sure. So what's your process post-show? Like, are you a reverse diet, or are you just like, give me all the food back and I'll just recover on my own?
Yeah, pretty much. All the food's back. Like, I feel that my body takes the rebound off a diet really well.
Yep.
Like, it literally just eats up all the food. Which I've like experienced from past preps that's what has worked. So that's what obviously I've done straight away.
Yep.
Like I've not went in on like 6 meals of junk food. Do you know what I mean? I've literally kept all of my staples in, so all of my things like sweet potato and oats and that are still in. Variety wise, I've brought back in things like rice, bagels. Do you know what I mean? Lots of things like that.
Yep.
And at the same time, once I know that obviously I've hit what I need to hit, say for instance, wise, and I've taken in like a really, really, really decent amount of like clean carbs, then anything on top of that's a bonus. You know, cereal, for instance, like there's a lot of cereal in, so
did Did you post eating an entire box the other day of Frosted Flakes?
I've had since last Sunday morning. I've had about 8.5 kilo of Frosties. So, no word of a lie.
That's nuts. What's your weight done since the show?
Yes. What do you think I am up?
I wanna say it's higher, but I feel like it's probably just nothing because your body's probably just gone through it. What are you up? 10 pounds?
I'm up 9 pounds.
Oh yeah. So a lot of people would be up, 20, 30 pounds, right? But your body is just like burning through it.
Pretty much, and like obviously having this little bit more energy for training and that, I'm able to kind of put that little bit more in. Do you know what I mean? I'm maybe able to take another set. I'm maybe able to take another couple of reps here and there. So all of these things are counting, and my expenditure in general throughout the day is always pretty high. Like my step count's always decently high. I don't track my steps or anything, but whenever I see my steps at the end of the day, I'm always topping like 12 and 15,000 every day.
Yep.
Just in so
that's good.
All that counts, So
what did your training do over the course of your prep? Like when did you get to the point where it's starting to hit and start to kind of take a turn down?
I would just say it was the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Knowing that I had to do another 4 after going through the depletion training and everything that well, that was when it kind of started feeling like shit. I really cannot be I can't be arsed with this. At the same time, like all my sessions were a success. As much as obviously there was days where the last thing I wanted to do was probably like go in and do everything I did. Everything was still done and everything was still a success. Like I would never look at any of them as like a bad session. So that was obviously one of the bigger parts of it as well. I just knew that I had to get past that 4 weeks, and then once I was on my last week and I was going into my depletion, I kind of just was like, right, this is the home run. Just get this done, get that done, and then I was there. So yeah.
How low did your calories get for those last 4 weeks?
I'm not actually sure because like the way that Becky done it was she obviously sent me through like my plan and I literally just stuck to it.
Yep.
To be honest, it wasn't low. Like I was still eating carbs with every single meal, and it was nowhere near even as low as last year. So
wow.
That was like obviously a big bonus this year that my food was a lot higher than here. And again, like for the last 4 weeks, we actually upped the food. So, like the last 4 weeks, things like my oats and post workout, like most of my food went up. And obviously, like I said, there was no meals without carbs or anything. I was on 6 meals, so
wow.
It was good. Like, the last 4 weeks were that little bit better, just because obviously I had more food. So
were you doing any really significant cardio at all?
Nah, nothing at all. 10 minutes.
Jeez, you're a lucky bugger.
And obviously, like none on things like leg days and that. So
yep. Wow, that's impressive.
It was good that way. Yeah.
So your physique has changed quite a bit in the last year. Can you kind of go into detail on what the last 12 months has looked like with regards to training and diet, lifestyle and stuff?
Pretty much. I came off of prep in 2019 in when would it have been the middle of November. So I had from the middle of November to April. Pretty much middle of April. So what's that, like November, December, January, February, March? 5 months, 6 months, you could say, maybe 5.5, 6 months.
That's ridiculous.
I was taking in between 7,000 and 8,000 calories a day. So that was consistent, like every single day. That was the biggest thing. Like, obviously, you might know that, like, my thing is obviously the EBOS, the eat big, stay small kind of thing. Training wise as well, like, I am a big believer in the basic compounds. These things were prioritised every single day. There was never a day that I would go in and kind of maybe just fluff about and not do the kind of the bigger moves that I really needed to do.
Yep.
But the main thing is the main thing was food. it was the priority. My bank balance may not have been too fond of it, but for the amount of food that I had to take in, and again, like, don't get me wrong, that wasn't like 7,000 to 8,000 calories of shit. Like, a lot of the food was very, very good, and I think that's how I was able to keep my food at a decent like height during prep, because obviously I was literally just cutting out things like cereal and things like that. Like, and at the same time, like, that's really only where the kind of the bad stuff, you could say, came from. It was more just like, if I got to the weekend or any time of traveling, and I wanted something like, say for instance, a pizza or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't going to hold myself back, but throughout the week, it was like the only bad things what you could say would be like cereal bars, things like that. These are obviously like quite easy calories and obviously carbohydrates as well, but at the same time, my carbs were coming from like my potatoes, rice, at the same time things like bagels, things that I know will stick to, and obviously things that I was able to digest really well. That was the main thing. So I knew that I wasn't just like that amount of calories worth of shit and getting rid of it straight away. I was holding on to it.
Yeah. What was your weight change from when you ended prep to April?
I took so I was on stage last year at 80 kilo. I was 80.7 kilo. That was my last stage weight last year. And then my off-season end weight was 16 stone 4. I believe that comes in at something like 104 kilo. Okay, so
you're like,
there was
40 pounds-ish?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's between like 35 and 45 pounds or something.
Okay.
I think near about that, so.
And then what was your stage weight this time?
86, so.
So 6 kilos, 12 pounds. Wow, that's impressive, man.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that in a 6-month off season, that's wild.
So everything was obviously dedicated to the process. You know, I was eating that amount of food. I was still training every single day, and at the same time sleeping, 6 to 10 hours a night every night. Regardless if I got to sleep at if I was getting to sleep at maybe even 1, 2 in the morning, and that meant that the next morning I wasn't getting up till maybe 9, 10 o'clock. Then that's what was happening. Naps during the day, that was one of the biggest things as well. Like taking naps during the day, during prep as well. Naps stayed in again, just really because I knew that maybe at the night time I wasn't getting enough rest, and I might have been up first thing in the morning with clients, and that meant that I needed to kind of make up for it. Then I was happy enough to do that. So
I think it was Jay Cutler was a big fan of. I think he called them like muscle naps. And he was his same thing, 2, 3 in the afternoon, shut it down for an hour or so, and then, you're good and you're refreshed and ready to go. I think that's, I remember when I was prepping last time, I would do the same thing, because I would have clients split in the morning and afternoon. So then I would have clients in the morning, say till 11 o'clock, come home, have a meal, and then, shut it down from 1 to 3, and then go up back to work later. So you're a PT? Is that your day job?
Yeah.
So how did you manage, you mentioned if you were up till 2 in the morning, how would you manage clients if you had clients in the mornings?
So, during prep, I was a lot more kind of routined with sleep. I was getting to sleep between 11 o'clock and midnight. Usually what it would mean is I would be getting up, say, for a first client at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
So if I be getting up, say, 6 o'clock, enough time to obviously get a meal in, then whatever time I'll be working till maybe 10, 11, whenever I got home at 11, I was straight to sleep kind of thing. So I would prioritise a meal in between that.
Yep.
But then once I got home, it was literally get the heating on, get to sleep. So, yeah. And it worked. I was still able to, get back over that night, get a decent sleep in. So it was just kind of making sure that it was early morning, because I knew that it just would literally wreck me.
No, for sure.
Full days kind of thing. So,
do you have any sleep hacks? before bed rituals or anything that you do to help get you to sleep?
Nah, man, I just literally stopped. I switched off from my phone and that later on at night, because I knew that if I went into a kind of mode where I felt tired and then went back onto my phone, especially in like a pitch black room, it would just wake me back up. And there was a couple of nights where like I would literally be rolling about trying to get to sleep and I wouldn't be able to sleep, and I'd be getting like more raging by the second because I was really wanting to sleep but I couldn't wide awake. And then you know how it is, you get hungrier and then you're like, oh, it's just...
You just get pissed. You're like, why can't I sleep, damn it?
That literally. So...
Do you, so with your training and stuff, do you do much, mobility and stretching and recovery and stuff like that? That's something that I've been putting more attention to, and it does make a difference. And obviously you are, head and shoulders stronger than even I am. So do you do anything special, or do you find your body is just like made of concrete and doesn't feel anything?
I always make sure my body's fully warmed up before I go into anything.
So when you say warmed up, because some people will hear that and think, oh, 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plates. Are you talking about dynamic mobility stuff?
More dynamic work with, say, like a couple of 1 or 2 kilo dumbbells, literally just to get everything moving. Because I do find that sometimes I'll go into the gym and I will be quite stiff. So that is really most of the time. Like I'll make sure my full body, even if I'm going in to do like say I'm just going into bench press, I'll make sure my lower body is also warmed up as well. So I'll be doing things like bodyweight squats and lunges and lots of things like that, just to make sure that everything is okay. Because obviously you go into a bench press, and if your lower body's tight and stiff, you're going to get nothing from your legs. Do you know what I mean? So just going to feel horrendous. Whereas if I know that everything's ready, and then obviously what I'll do is I'll grab like a set of maybe 2s or 3s, and I'll do like sets of side raises, front raises, shoulder presses, bent over rows, obviously squats and things. That'll be what I would class as more a kind of get the body ready to go into a move. And then obviously I'll still do warm-up sets, so obviously 1 plates, 2 plates and all that. So maybe it might only take like 2-3 minutes, but
makes a difference.
It makes that difference, and I've found that that's what works for me. So that's really at the start of every session.
Do you deal with any aches and pains between your knees, low back, shoulders, anything like that?
I've actually been pretty lucky on that side of things. Like, don't get me wrong, I do get the odd niggle here and there, but I know how to kind of work around it, and I know not to be stupid with it. But at the same time, I've been okay. Lower back pain. Again, it's expected. If I go in and pull 7 plates off the floor and I wake up the next morning and feel as if I can do it again, there's more chance of me doing it again than obviously knowing that I've done it the day before and thinking, fuck, right, okay.
Yeah. That's, it's interesting. I hear like a lot of, younger lifters like avoiding the stuff that, might hurt or something. But I remember a friend of mine said that, I couldn't tell you the last time, my lower back wasn't somewhat sore all the time, between, especially if, for yourself, for me and guys that do, a squat, a deadlift, rows, like everything that's very, taxing on your system, it's going to add up, right?
Definitely.
So let's go back to show day. So junior class, it was just you, correct?
Yeah, so pretty much in November when the show was meant to go ahead, so 4 weeks ago, there was meant to be, I believe, something like 6 or 8 juniors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was going to be quite a packed class.
Yeah.
And then I was told that on show day there was meant to be 2 of us. And then something, I don't know what really went on. And then obviously, of course, it ended up just me in the junior category. The plan, I believe, there could have been a chance of me getting put in with the class under me. But then again, obviously, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, obviously, the goal was to take the junior British title, because obviously that's what I've kind of needed like closure of.
Yeah.
But at the time as that, the goal was the pro card. So for that, all I needed was a ticket to the overall, to be in with a chance of obviously going against like all the winners of the day. So
yeah. So you obviously the junior class, no problem. So you get into the overall, and in my opinion, it was between you and Liam, I believe was his name.
Yep.
Looking, I assume obviously you've seen photos and stuff. His upper body, like his waist is, that big. And it was, his shape was really good, but his lower body, like you dwarfed him, right? So, but you two were a good group to watch.
Yeah.
And then, so you win the overall, obviously you get the pro card, and then, you go into the pro class, which was awesome. And you end up getting that too. Now, did you have any expectations going into that?
No, not a single one. Like the goal, like obviously the biggest part was taking the pro card. Like for that, I was still quite like shocked. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously, I went up to fight because I knew that that's what I wanted. And then I was also able to take the best wheels as well. So obviously, going into the pro class, it was like, I don't know, I wouldn't say I was nervous. I really wanted to go out and gain experience and have fun with the pros, do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously get put through what pros get put through. Like, that was the biggest thing, because we must have got put through like, easy 10 or 11 rounds.
You were up there for a long time.
Yeah, like it was just a case of like everybody was getting moved, and every time you were thinking, right, this is going to be the last round, and then somebody else got moved, and you just knew.
They'd be like, all right, gentlemen, one more time, quarter turn to the right.
Yeah, it was hard. I'm not going to say it wasn't hard, but at the same time, I was proper fighting. I was wanting to kind of, what you could say, like, leave a kind of mark to, like, people. I wanted people to be able to say, right, something. He's here to play. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to go on stage and show that I was tired, or show that I didn't want to, or show that I didn't like belong up there, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to go up and showcase like a kind of amateur like performance kind of thing. I wanted to be able to pretty much people to remember like me as going up there. It's my first time, and showing them that obviously I did want it. So yeah, it was hard. I obviously had to do my routine and everything like that again. So it was like, I swear I must have been on that stage more that day than what I was off it. So
yeah,
it was good though. It was good. It was good.
Especially you'd have been on stage already a couple times prior to even the pro class, right? So you'd already been through 15, 20 rounds even before that.
Yeah, easy. And then like I went out with no expectations, just because I like didn't think that obviously. Even I was more side of thinking of either not getting placed, or maybe if I was going to place, like obviously like if I was going to get like your top 5, I'm like 5th up near back end kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it was just a case of once people started getting like
you're like, holy shit,
the rewards and that, and then when it was me and Louis left, like I don't know, it was hard because I was just kind of thinking, right, so am I going to secure like a top 2 spot here, or like what's going on? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then once runner up got announced, and I was just kind of like, shit, I'm the only person left on stage here.
So cool.
I was like, my head just went. It was what a feeling, man. It was good.
It's incredible, man. So here we are now. We're a week post show. We're nearing the end of 2020. What's next for you? So I don't know, after your DFAC Pro, what's next? Is there a Worlds?
Yeah, so pretty much it will be out to obviously the main DFAC Worlds, but at the same time, it means that I can do a lot more pro shows than that.
Sure.
But obviously me out to the DFAC Worlds. Also, like the Pro Grand Prix. I would like to do another Pro Grand Prix, but at the same time, like the Worlds would become obviously Pro World Champ. You know what I mean? That would be a cool title to have. But yeah, something down the kind of line to that. Like it's still quite hard, obviously, because the show was only last week, so it's like I'm still trying to kind of come back down from that and then move on to what next. But yeah, so obviously most Worlds have the end of the year, so it'll be full blown off season now. Leading up to, obviously, I think it'll be more so the kind of part of the year before I really do know what I'm going to do next. And obviously that'll give me like that bit of time to decide and obviously make a plan and like go for it, whether I'm going to go straight back in next year or whether I'm going to take a year and compete when I'm 24.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. It's just, I would love to say like right now this is what I'm going to do, but it's just like shit. I need to realise that I'm a pro now and like I can't fuck about. Do you know what I mean? And I want to add another stone on. Do you know what I mean? So like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
like,
hard.
You know, you figure what you did in the 6 months between 2019 and 2020. Like if you took next year off and then 2022, you know, made your real big pro debut. Obviously you did it already, but like your first real return to the stage after turning pro, you know, I mean, if you put on another 10 pounds of muscle between now and then, like, holy fuck, dude.
It's definitely the goal is obviously to improve all over again. Like absolutely everything.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything specific that I would like to bring up. It'll just be a case of making sure everything is brought up.
So do you have any other desires for any other natural pro cards within any other organizations?
See, to be honest, I don't, like, because this is a thing that I always get asked. Like, I always get asked about the WABF and that, and it's like, I don't know, like, my goal from the very start, like, I competed with the BNBF on my first year of competing. Like, it was pretty much my second ever show, but within a week of doing my first ever show. So it was like, right, that's where from that day, I was able to obviously see the pros, and I was able to see the pros at the Brits that year, and that's when I knew that obviously the biggest goal would be to get my pro card, and it was within the DFAC. That was obviously I went out to the Worlds and that as a teen, and I was able to see all the pro classes and that, and like the standard pro shows are phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? But like there was something that the DFAC was just, it had like a place in my heart since the very start. So it was like that was the main goal, and whether that goal took 3 years or whether that goal took 10 years, I was wanting to step down, and I was wanting that really like a lot. Did I believe that I was able to achieve that this year? At the very start, I didn't. It was up until the show got cancelled, and then there was the last 4 weeks, and myself and Vicky were talking on that, and it was really more so Vicky that brought it up, that she believes in me a lot, and it's like it's a huge help, and obviously it is like the support is crazy, but myself, I had the doubts that I wasn't ready yet. You know that kind of way when you're like looking at check-in shots and you think you just start looking the same every week. But
it's all a blur.
Yeah, to the outside person, like fuck, there's changes happening every week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I was it was up until that kind of last 4 weeks, and then we got 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, and then I was starting to kind of think to myself, right, this might actually be possible, and then something just kind of clicked, and I was like, right, this is this is what we're going for. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like throughout prep, there was nothing left. Like regardless of whether the goal was the pro card or whether the goal was the junior title.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a hard one to take in, and I think that's how I'm kind of still struggling to process it now, because it's like, right, I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird, but
it's kind of bittersweet, right? Because you were climbing this mountain for so long. Now you're at the top, and then it's like, you know, you feel kind of lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like now what? What do I do now?
It's crazy, and I think because like throughout prep there was so many setbacks, obviously with the show being cancelled and that, and there was just like so much rubbish going on, and then even at that, like last week there, the night before I was meant to be flying to London, I got an email from British Airways. It was like less than 12 hours before the flight was meant to go ahead that my flight was cancelled. So it was I never really made much of a point about it on social media and things, but yeah, it was quite a stressful moment. I was like, I'd done the last 4 weeks. I was literally there. It was like, right, here we go again. That's it. I'm not competing this year. I'm not getting to the show. Yeah,
that's brutal. What happened? How'd you end up getting over?
An absolute miracle happened, mate. Liam that owns, HR Labs. So Liam that owns HR Labs actually came forward and put me on another flight, which I believe was the last flight from Glasgow to Bristol, and then he came and picked me up in Bristol, and obviously was able to get me to the show. So like, it was just an absolute like miracle moment, and like I'll never be able to. Like, he is one of the biggest reasons that weekend happened.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much and so many people that there's to thank, but that weekend, like, it was just, he made that weekend special, very special. So it was, I look back at that and like, I was on stage, and obviously once it was all done, like especially after the pro class, once everything was done and out the way, and I was standing on the stage, and like Dave brought my sword back to me, and obviously I had the overall pro win, and that it just kind of hit me, and like I really didn't want to start crying or anything, but it just kind of it came out, because obviously I felt like shit. There's been so many like bumps along the way,
for sure,
but it all led to this. You know what I mean? So it's like
it made it that much sweeter, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's incredible, man. Well, man, I'm glad we were able to do this chat and share that story, because it was, for me watching, obviously I've been following you for a long time, so I've seen this year kind of play out, and, to see it all come to fruition for you is pretty damn cool, man.
Thank you.
Any closing thoughts or pieces of wisdom you could bestow on maybe the 18-year-old bodybuilder watching this right now? Just eat big, train hard, sleep hard. That's the biggest thing. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't believe what your Instagram guru with 100,000 followers is telling you to do that's right. Don't believe any of that rubbish. Just kind of get on with focusing on what you're doing. That's the biggest thing. The unfortunate part of the 2020 industry, it's like, right, he's doing this, so I'm going to do this. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a case of focusing too much on what somebody else is doing and not realising that that's what's hindering your progression to take you to that next level. Whereas if you kind of just focus on yourself, obviously eat all your meals that you need to eat, sleep how many hours you need to sleep, rest how much you need to rest, train as hard as possible. Don't forget to deadlift. I'm still waiting for your D-handle deadlifts. I'm going to do them next week. That's his secret right there. Those back shots. That's what it was. It was D-handle deadlifts. That's secret's out. They work. I've just never filmed it because I didn't want to ever put the secret out. But now that it's out, oh well. Get your notepad out, kids. The secret's out. Plug your Instagram, buddy. Where can people find you? It is just KiffyWest _. So that's KiffieWest _, and that's it. It's stayed that for ages, and it's probably going to just stay that forever. So yeah, that's it. I also do YouTube as well. Kind of get a little bit more into it, but yeah, Instagram's the main thing. Awesome. You'll find me on for hours a day. There you go, people. Give this man a follow, show us some love, and we appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you, my man, and we'll see you guys in the next one.